Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission is to take a dense stack of sources, articles, research papers, expert notes, and turn them into the most actionable, memorable knowledge we can.
And today, we're really getting into it. We're looking at the longevity protocol of Dr. David Sinclair, a leading genetics professor at Harvard.
Right, and he has this big claim we need to dig into. He says that at 54, his biological markers are, well, they're better than a typical 20-year-old's.
We're talking about things like his testosterone, glucose levels, inflammation. I mean, all the key indicators. He says his goal is to reboot the body's software.
So what's fascinating is it's not some magic pill, it's a whole system.
Exactly. A system that uses strategic stress to make the body stronger.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole protocol for you. We've pulled out 5 key pillars from his lifestyle. His simple rule for exercise, the timing of his meals, the specific foods he eats, the supplements he takes, and just as important, the 5 foods he's completely cut out.
Let's get straight into the science of it.
We'll start with exercise, and the rule here is, honestly, it's surprisingly simple. Just move fast enough to lose your breath 3 times a week. That's it.
Yeah, no complex routines. The goal isn't to run a marathon. It's about metabolic signaling. You have to push yourself hard enough that you can't hold an easy conversation.
So why that specific level of intensity? Why the short burst?
Because you're creating what's called a hypoxic state, a temporary state of low oxygen. And that little bit of panic, that short-term stress, it sends out a powerful cascade of positive signals to the rest of the body.
It still sounds a little weird that stressing the body actually slows down aging.
Well, it's the classic definition of hormesis, What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Your cells are forced to adapt. They release these beneficial chemicals. You get better blood flow, muscle gain. The sources say this can lower your rates of chronic disease by 30%.
Wow. Okay, so that's the physical stress. This leads right into the next pillar. What fuel do we use? And maybe more importantly, when do we use it? Sinclair is pretty clear that 3 meals a day plus snacks is aging us way too fast.
And this is where time-restricted feeding, or TRF, comes in. It's often more about when you eat than what you eat, at least at first. The key is that long period of not eating.
So his goal is a 6-hour eating window. For him, that means skipping breakfast and lunch and having one large, healthy meal for dinner.
Right, because when you push that fast past 16 hours or so, you kickstart this deep cellular recycling process. It's called autophagy.
Autophagy, like a spring cleaning for your cells.
Exactly. The cell starts eating its own old damaged parts for fuel. It's incredibly efficient. It's like a spaceship recycling non-essential parts to survive a long journey.
And it's this feeling of scarcity that triggers the longevity genes, right?
Absolutely. When your body senses low sugar and low protein, it activates these genes called Sirtuins. Think of them as the body's emergency repair crew. They only turn on when the body's under a little bit of stress.
So for anyone thinking of trying this first couple of weeks can be, well, they can be brutal. You get hungry, you get moody. How do you push through that?
Oh, it's very real. And the secret is hydration. Just constantly sipping on coffee, tea, hot water.
Yeah.
It really takes the edge off the hunger.
But what if you're like 18 hours in and you feel like you're actually going to pass out?
A small handful of nuts, something with a bit of protein or fat, can shut down the hunger hormone, ghrelin, almost instantly without totally breaking the fast. But the real change is metabolic.
What do you mean metabolic?
You have to stick with it for 2 or 3 weeks. That's when your liver learns to perform gluconeogenesis. It's a bit technical, but...
So the liver starts making its own sugar, basically.
Exactly. It makes its own glucose at a slow, steady rate.
Huh.
So you don't get those huge blood sugar spikes and then the horrible crashes that make you intensely hungry. Once that kicks in, you get that brain fog-free state he talks about.
Okay, so we know when to eat. Now, section 2, what to eat. Sinclair is almost completely plant-based, and he says it's improved his skin, his memory, his energy.
And this brings us to a really cool idea. Xenohormesis. The concept is that you should eat plants that have been stressed.
Whoa, okay, hold on. Xenohormesis, break that down for us.
So he and a colleague came up with this idea. Plants, when they're under stress from things like drought or pests, produce these protective molecules called polyphenols.
Mm-hmm.
When we eat those plants, those stress molecules act as a signal in our own bodies. They basically tell ourselves, hey, times might be tough, you should turn on your defenses.
So we're hijacking the plant's survival signals to boost our own longevity.
You got it. It activates our sirtuin enzymes, improving our own fitness without us having to be, physically in a drought ourselves. Resveratrol from grapes is the famous one.
So how do you find a stressed plant in the produce aisle?
The easiest way is to look for color. Bright red, deep purple, dark green. Those pigments are often the defense molecules. Think about vegetables grown outside in a field, organically. They've had to fight a little harder to survive.
I love that idea. Stress your food so you don't have to stress yourself as much. What are some of his go-to foods?
Matcha tea is a big one almost every morning. It's packed with a polyphenol called EGCG, which is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Lots of leafy greens like spinach and tons of high-quality olive oil.
And the olive oil connects right back to the sirtuins, doesn't it?
It does. But he also notes that if going fully vegan is too much, the Mediterranean diet is a great alternative, or even the traditional Okinawan diet.
All right, we've covered physical stress and dietary stress. Let's get into pillar 3, the longevity toolkit, the supplements. And we have to be really clear here.
Super clear. Dr. Sinclair is not selling or endorsing any of these. He's just sharing what he takes based on his own research.
Okay, let's start with the one that's getting all the attention, NM.
NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. It's a form of vitamin B3. And this is probably the most important piece of the puzzle because it tackles the main chemical failure of aging, the loss of NAD.
Then why is NAD so critical?
NAD is the fuel for the Sirtuins. If the Sirtuins are the repair crew, NAD is the electricity that powers all their tools. The problem is, by the time you're 50, your NAD levels are about half of what they were when you were 20.
So no power, no repairs, and NMN is basically a precursor the body uses to make more NAD.
Precisely. He says taking NMN gets his NAD levels back to where they were in his 20s, and early trials are showing benefits like lower cholesterol and blood pressure.
So NMN is the fuel, then what's resveratrol, the second supplement?
If NMN is the fuel, resveratrol is the accelerator pedal. It's that red wine chemical. It binds directly to the sirtuin enzyme and just kicks it into high gear, telling it to get to work.
Ah, so you need both. It's no good having an accelerator if you've got an empty gas tank.
Exactly. It's that synergy that's the key.
Yeah.
You need the fuel supply and the activation signal for the whole defense system to work properly.
And the third one is a bit more controversial. It's a prescription drug, metformin.
Right. It's a drug for type 2 diabetes, mainly to lower blood sugar. But here's the wild part. Studies show that diabetics on metformin actually tend to live longer than healthy non-diabetics who don't take it.
So it's doing more than just controlling sugar.
It seems to be. By keeping blood sugar low, it mimics a state of fasting. And it also seems to gently inhibit another pathway called mTOR, which is all about cellular growth. You dial back the growth signal, you promote repair.
So the whole trio works together. Resveratrol activates, NMN fuels, and metformin creates the perfect environment for that repair crew to work.
That's the idea.
Okay, now for the painful part, the elimination list. To get these kinds of results, Sinclair cut 5 major food groups. Let's start with the big one, sugar.
Yeah, the source material is blunt on this. It calls sugar, especially fructose, the big killer. High blood sugar is maybe the best predictor of a shorter, less healthy life.
Why is it so bad?
Because high sugar literally causes the proteins in your body to become caramelized. It's a process called glycation. They get stiff and stop working properly. And of course, cancer cells absolutely love sugar.
So no fruit juice. But what if you have a sweet tooth?
Monk fruit or stevia are the recommended substitutes. And a great tip is, if you are going to eat something sweet, have it at the end of a meal. The fat and protein you ate first will buffer the sugar spike.
Okay, number 2 to cut, bread and refined carbs. Why is toast in the morning so bad for you?
Because it sends you on that blood sugar roller coaster we talked about.
Yes.
You get a huge spike, your body overreacts with too much insulin, and then you get a massive crash.
The 10 a.m. crash, I know it well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that crash makes your body release ghrelin, the hunger hormone, so you're hungry again an hour later. It's a vicious cycle. Cutting that out is how he gets that sustained brain fog-free focus.
Third cut, meat. Now, a lot of people are going to push back on this, especially with concerns about muscle mass as you age.
And that's a really important point. He did see his cholesterol improve, but the deep science is about that mTOR pathway again.
Right, mTOR is the growth signal.
It is, and the amino acids in meat protein are a very powerful activator of mTOR. So if you're constantly eating meat, your body is always in grow, grow, grow mode and never really has time for repair, repair, repair.
So it's a trade-off. He's choosing repair over maximum growth.
He's optimizing for longevity. He finds plant proteins don't trigger mTOR as aggressively. He does say he'll eat fish occasionally for the omega-3s, though.
Fourth on the list is dairy. He cut it even though he doesn't have an intolerance. Why?
It's likely for the same reason. Dialing down mTOR. Dairy is designed to make things grow quickly, so it's a potent source of growth signals. Reducing it just helps keep the body in that beneficial repair state.
And the final cut, alcohol.
Yeah, this one's a bummer for a lot of people. But unfortunately, the newest research is pretty clear that daily drinking is, I'm quoting here, really not good for you. It seems to override any of the potential small benefits we used to hear about.
What a deep dive. For you, the learner, the big takeaway is that this isn't about one thing. It's this combination of controlled physical stress, timed food restriction, and very specific nutrient signals, all designed to keep your body's defense system switched on.
Right. The mission is to stop the corruption of the body's software. You give it the maximum activation with something like resveratrol, the fuel with NMN, and the perfect low-sugar environment through fasting and diet. You let the repair mechanisms do their job.
So we want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Let's be realistic. Following this protocol perfectly is tough. So if you're standing in front of the wine rack and you just cannot give up red wine, the source material actually has a suggestion. Choose Pinot Noir. It's a stress-sensitive grape, and it's cited as having the highest concentration of resveratrol.
So the question for you to mull over is this. Is optimizing that one beneficial compound, resveratrol, truly enough to outweigh all the known systemic negative effects of the alcohol it's delivered in? Something to think about.